Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Golf Chat Show Live. We're joined by our resident caddy, Steve Brotherhood, again today. And we've got a fantastic lineup. So you've been on the bag for 3 wins on the European Tour. We've got some unbelievable questions going to be coming in, have come in from everybody. So I'm looking forward to this.
Cool. Yeah, me too. Yeah, let's fire these questions over. Let's see what answers we can come up with.
First, though, I need to see this man cave. These some pretty cool memorabilia here.
Okay, so a few years ago, 4 years ago, I moved into my new house in Newark, and we had an old garage which was just storing rubbish. So one of my good pals, Tom Willis, who is a handyman at everything. He's got Willis Installations, I think, is his company name. And I called him around. I said, look, can you do anything with this garage for me to put? I've got all these flags and signed stuff all up my loft. And I said, look, I really need to display this somewhere. And he said, yeah, I'll come around, and give me a quote and stuff. And he come around. He's done an absolute amazing job. So I'll start you off. So bear with me. So if you can see, I've got all the major winning flags from 2013.
Yeah.
All the way on that wall to 2016. So we've got the likes of, your man Danny Willits just down the road, won the Masters in 2016, Henrik Stenson Open, Dustin Johnson, we've got Jordan Spieth. And then my winning flags are all on this wall here. So we've got the Dunhill Links Championship. My first win with Steve Webster was at the Italian Open in 2005, Dunhill Links with David Howell in 2013, and then the Royal Trophy again in 2013, which was a team event, which was a really brilliant event to be a part of. And then we've got the 2017 wall there. All my 2018s are still in frames down there. I need to get them on the wall. And then we've got the Ryder Cups from 2010. Celtic Manor, the Medina 2012. Again, I've just put this one down here. We've got 2018 and 2014. I only keep the winning flags from Europe. Whenever we lose, I don't put it on the wall. So, it's a brilliant man cave. It's one to keep all my memories in. And it was, and Tom has just done an amazing job. And also, if you can see, just behind me, if I press that, I've got a drop-down screen out the roof, which, again, Tom did, where I watch all the sports.
That is. I need something like I need to set up like that.
Yeah, so it's brilliant. And it is, and he designed all that for me. He said, right, this is how I think we should do it. I left it in his capable hands, and it was brilliant. So I thank Tom a lot for that.
That is class, and all that memorabilia as well. That's serious.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the caddies don't really sort of collect stuff, but for me, we're privileged really to be in the position we are in the jobs that we've got, and to be in the company of the best players in the world. It's not going to last forever, and we probably won't want to last forever anyway, caddy. I certainly don't want to be carrying the bag when I'm 50 odd years old, because I'm feeling it now. My back is, every morning I wake up, I'm in agony. So this memories. So when my kids grow up, it'd be nice to show them, this is where Daddy was. And when the Masters comes on the TV, I can say, that was the winning flag from there. And it's great.
That's class. I'm very jealous, to say the least, of that. So let's get into the question. So you mentioned 2005 was your first win.
Yeah.
Then Dunhill Links with David Howell in 2013, and then the Royal Trophy in 2013 as well.
Yeah.
Let's try and go through each of the events. So first question that we got, what was the emotions like coming down the stretch? We'll start with your first one, because obviously first win, being part of the first win is probably gonna be one of the most.
It was a very strange situation for me, because I'd sort of wasted 3 years of my life trying to become a professional golfer. I turned pro, but I was on the Euro Pro Tour, and I gave it my best shot. Don't get me wrong, but my head upstairs, and if my dad's watching this now, he'll probably agree with me that my head was useless. If I made a bogey on the first hole, you might as well kick me out of the tournament. My mental game was useless, and I think if I knew what I knew now through caddying and and what I've learned through the best golfers in the world, maybe that might have been a bit different as a player, because I watch the bounce back ability from these pros that we see week in, week out is just incredible. And that's what let me down massively in my first years of a pro. But yeah, I mean, so it was the end of 2004, and Steve Webster, who's a good friend of mine, he asked me if I wanted to go to Australia for a few months. It was 6 weeks. Go and caddy for him for a few events, and have a 3-week holiday. Now I ain't got a bean. I couldn't afford to go to Australia. I couldn't afford the flights or anything. But he offered to pay for all my expenses, and if we did all right, he'd give me a nice drink at the end of it. So it did. And we had an unbelievable time. We made every cut. We had one top 10 finish. And it was just a surreal experience that, I was part of this team, if you like, on the European Tour, which was doing well. And then we came home, and I was in a bit of a limbo. Really. I didn't know whether I was going to go back out playing. My dad wanted me to do another year at it, and I said, I got fed up of it. I was fed up of coming home, missing cuts and playing useless and not being very good. And Steve Webster then offered me the job full time. So we started the 2005 season in January, and by the time May come along, we're in the Italian Open, and we win the Italian Open, win the trophy. And for me, I'm thinking, what the hell have I been doing for 3 years? Yeah. Wasting all mine and my dad's money, trying to become this golfer, when all of a sudden, we won the Italian Open. The week after was the English Open at the Forest of Arden, and he wrote me a check the week after for £26,000. Now, I'd spent that per year trying to be a pro, and it was incredible. And I remember the story I've got from the Italian Open. We came down the 17th, and I was nervous. It was my first year on tour as a caddy. I was nervous. I was shaking, and I knew we'd got a 2-shot lead, but was on the 17th fairway, and Bradley Dredge was playing the 18th, which was our closest rival. And I saw him hook it into the water off the tee. As I was walking up, I was watching his shot, and I watched him do it. So all of a sudden now, the best he's going to make is a 5. So we're 3 shots clear. So I've said to Steve, and I think I've got a video of it somewhere, but it was live on camera. And I said, look, all we need to do, it was only a wedge shot. I said, but just play middle of the green here, middle of the green, 2 putts. Let's finish par. We're home and dry kind of thing. And it was 2 difficult driving holes, but if you got your drive away, you was fine. So he stood there, and we've got the yardage, we've got the club. It was a pitching wedge, and I said, right, just keep it left of this flag, because it was dead on the right. Anyway, this thing's come out, and it's just took dead aim at the flag, and you hear me on the commentary say, oh, well, just go straight at it then, why don't you? And he's hit it to 3 feet and taps it in for birdie. So now we're on that tee, and I was watching Brad drop it in the distance, and the rest is history. We win the tournament. But yeah, what an amazing feeling coming. Just the fact that we're only a few weeks into me being a caddy, and then all of a sudden I'm with you on the European Tour was surreal. It was amazing.
I bet. And did Steve know? Did Steve see Bradley Dredge put it in the water? Did he?
No, and I didn't tell him either, because it's a bit of a weird thing. I didn't really know whether to tell him, because I got no experience as a caddy at that point. But I thought, you know what, we've got this lead. Let's just stick to the game plan. What we decided to do off the 18th tee. Now the 18th hole was a dog leg round the water. Now you could hit 5-iron and an 8-iron. Comfortable, easily make a par 4, or you take it over the corner of the water with driver, and it's a little flick on the green. And we stood on that 18th tee, and I got a bit of a slagging off the commentators actually after, when looking back at it, because I said to him, right, driver, and there was a white tent in the distance, and we'd said from practice rounds to driver at the white tent, takes the water out of play. If you go through the fairway, it's only a wedge on the green anyway, you're fine. Yeah. So we got on the tee, and I knew that we were at least 3 shots clear. And I said, right, come on, stick to game plan, driver at the white tent. and he never questioned it, and he flushed this driver, never left the white tent. We was through the fairway in the rough, wedged it on the green, 25, 30 feet, 2 putts, and that was that. The rest is history.
What did the commentators say then? What were they?
They said, I can't believe he's taking driver. He's got such a lead. Why would he even bring the water into play? But that was our game plan. That's what we're stuck to week in, week out. Day in, day out. And we hadn't changed that. We didn't drive there every day, and it was a flick. And he played the hole in 2 under par, I think, up until then. So for me, it was, if I'd have said, right, look, Webb, let's just hit a 5-iron here, all of a sudden in his mind, then he's thinking, well, have we got a big lead, or why are we all of a sudden changing things? So, we stuck with it, and luckily for me, it came off. It was great.
To me, though, that seems like good caddying. Like, I'd say the commentators are probably out of context saying that, really.
I suppose at the time, yeah, but in hindsight, yeah, it probably was. But I was naive. I didn't really know what was going on. I was doing it as a player as such, to try and think, what would I want to do? And it's probably the wrong way of doing it. But I've known Steve for all my life. I grew up with him as a kid. We played at the same golf club. We grew up together. We lived 5 minutes away. So I know what makes him tick, and he's an aggressive player. He always used to if it was 240 over water and he hits the 3-wood 250, it was, let's hit the 3-wood. If we've got a chance, we're going to have a smack. So to put that negativity in his mind by giving him an iron off that tee would have been disastrous, I would have thought. He could have easily hit a 5-iron in the water than a driver for me.
Yeah. So. Especially because it's that underlying thing of, well, why are we changing what we're doing?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a negative, really. Just stick with it, stick to game plan, and crack on, and it worked.
So, Steve, before we move on to your next win, Paddy, we've got a question coming in from Paul Roberts. The best ball striker you've worked for, and who you've been in a 3-ball with?
The best ball striker I've worked for is Mark Warren.
Mm-hmm.
He got everything. He's unbelievable. He could find 20 yards off the tee if he needed to. His iron play, his shot shaping, everything was amazing. He was the real deal for me, caddying for him. The best 3-ball striker I've been out with is got to be Elazabal. Well, there's 2, Elazabal and Freddie Couples. They were my idols.
Freddie Couples, yes.
Freddie Couples is just, he's a flusher. He's had an amazing career. He's unbelievable. But Elazabal's never changed all through his career. He's always had these butter knife bladed irons that no one else in the world could pull off. And his striking ability, the sound, the crispness off the turf was amazing. So yeah, ball striking wise, amazing.
That's got to be class. Stood next to a ball striker of that capability, especially say Mark Warren when you're caddying for him. Like, wow, this boy can play.
Yeah, I mean, we stood on the 18th tee in Malaysia, and it was like a 305-yard carry over the bunker on the left off the tee. And I questioned it, and I said, I don't think you can do that today. I mean, it's warm in Malaysia. The ball goes a lot further. But I didn't think he could carry it, and we had a discussion, but we went with it in the end, and he carried it by 20 yards. It was the most comfortable carry and I mean, as soon as he hit it, I didn't even need to say go or get over. It was just, as a caddy would do, it was just flushed straight over the trap, 4-iron to 3 feet, I think it was. It was amazing.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, brilliant.
So next one, I want to stick on this question. Emotions coming down the stretch. I want to go to Dunhill Links 2013, David Howell, because that outside of the Rolex events now, that's like a really big event.
Massive, yeah.
It was then, like money wise and statue, and I think at the time, probably when you won that, did you get 2 years exemption with that as well?
2 years exemption. It was £666,000 to the winner. Playing with Hugh Grant, it was amazing. Yeah.
So what was the emotions like coming down the stretch there? Was it similar to that one, or did you use that experience?
No, completely different, really, because I remember walking down 17, and Howler doesn't look at scoreboards, so it's up to my job. For him as a caddy was to keep an eye on what was going on around us and make a decision on what we needed to do if we're in a decent position. And the last scoreboard on the Dunhill Links at St Andrews on the last round is on about 14, and I knew that we were a joint leader. So we're coming down to 17, and he's at a decent drive, and we're, I'm thinking if we can finish par, we're either winning or we're in a playoff. So we're walking down 17, and we're talking about going to Alton Towers next week. I'll never forget. It's as clear as a bell now. We've talked about, we're both thinking about going to Alton Towers, taking the kids. We've got a few weeks off. That was the plan, and it was so surreal that we've got a real good chance in 30 minutes time of lifting a massive trophy and winning £666,000, and we're talking about going to Alton Towers next week. And I suppose that's what really kept us both calm. It was almost like we just forgot about golf. Obviously, when we got to the shot, then we both switched on. We both got the ideas. We talked about it. But then we hit the second shot and we hit on the right edge of the green. Didn't hit the green, but it was on the right edge. And we carried on talking about Alton Towers again. So I think, I think a lot of caddies would say you've got to try and distract your player from being in the zone or on the golf course, if you get me. Especially when you're, under pressure coming down the stretch, you need to distract yourself all away from massive crowds, the cheering, everything that's going on around you, your playing partner that's doing all right. You've just got to forget about it and stick to you as a team and just talk about rubbish, really.
Yeah, I get that distraction works wonders, I guess, for the player.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we've got another question live from YouTube. We're going best at putting, and we'll go best putter you've worked for and best putter that's been in your 3-ball.
Well, that's a really easy one for me because David Howell is renowned to being one of the best putters in the world. And he was, and he still is. So for me, working for 6 years with him, watching him roll putts in from everywhere, my bad, all the lads, if any of the lads are watching this, they'll know that I'm probably the worst +3 handicap golfer putter you've ever seen. I'm useless. And to work for one of the best putters, I've ever seen was quite surreal, really. But yeah, David Howe, he had his own technique, he had his own routine, didn't really need to have lessons, certainly shied away from the green books. He didn't need to do that. He was natural green reader. He saw putts going in at the pace that he wanted to hold the putts. And he was brilliant. So, and then I'm now working for another absolutely amazing putter, David Horsey, who, again, I've never seen a kid hold so many 30 footers. You get on the green and you're 30 feet away, you're accepting, hopefully trying to make a par. This kid rolls them in from anywhere. You just don't know what's going to come up. He can hold them from any distance. Which is amazing.
Isn't he? Absolute hoover.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he rolls them in from anywhere.
It's so interesting you say that about David Howell having his own technique. It's crazy how, I think, obviously you see all the putters, there's different ways of doing it. Some people go quite methodical, some people carry natural. And I always think, like you say, the best ball striker is Pablo Raffle and the best putter there. They're both two players which are very natural in what they do and in those two elements.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Someone like Tyrrell Hatton as well, if you're going up the rankings and, one of the best players in the world, Tyrrell Hatton's the same. He sees the hole and he goes with it and he rolls them in. He's brilliant, and I've been out with him a few times, even back in his early days before he became Tyrrell Hatton, if you like. I remember playing in China with him once and he just hold the world. It was just incredible, and he's brilliant. So, yeah.
Class. Okay, next question. This is the one that I have been looking forward to asking you since we got these questions in. Is there any particular shot in the tournament that you were part of winning that you thought, right, okay, this is make or break? If we pull this off, we've won. If we don't, well, it's going to be a horrible walk back in the last few holes.
15th hole, the Dunhill Links at St Andrews. We've got a yardage which was horrific for us because the wind was down. So there's a bunker on the 15th, which if you hit it in this trap, you're done. You're chipping out sideways, and it's a tough hole. So Howler wants to hit 3-wood off the tee, and I'm thinking with the firm fairways downwind, I think it was something like 90 odd yards to get, which you shouldn't reach with a 3-wood, but because of the wind and the firmness of the fairways and the run out, there was a chance. Now, as a caddy, if there's a chance, you steer away from it. Now, for me, it was either driver and you try and carry the lot and get over the trap. I mean, this bunker's as wide as my man cave. It's 5-6 yards wide. It's not a big thing. So if you aim at it, you're pretty certain you're not going to hit it dead straight and run in this trap. But there's a chance. So I said to him, I said, look, it's either 2-iron or it's a driver. And I said, 2-iron leaves you such a long shot back. I said, let's hit the driver straight at the trap. It's not, you're not going to hit it in a 5-yard gap. It's either going to just miss to the right or just miss to the left. Or it's got a chance of bouncing it, whatever, it should be fine. So we went with driver. Well, he's hit this shot and it is just not left the trap. And I'm thinking, halfway through the hour, I'm thinking, there's only one place this is finishing. It's plugging up the face. I'm in for a rollicking. Tournament's over. We are in so much trouble here because of what I've just said there. And luckily for me, the ball carries the trap, goes on the fairway, and we've got 7-iron to the green or whatever it was. And it came off. But that was the only time throughout the whole 4 days of that championship that still sticks in my mind now that could have cost us the tournament. Every other shot that we discussed or talked through, we was on the same page, but that was the one that was right in between for us. It was a 3-wood, could have reached the trap. Driver possibly couldn't carry it. 2-iron left as a long shot back. It was a difficult decision to make, but we went with it, and luckily it came off. So
that's what you're there for, though, isn't it? Those situations where
it is, and I'm not. Listen, people ask me, said, how did you? What sort of shots did you change on how? And that throughout the whole 4 days of that tournament, that was the only shot that comes into my mind that I can think that we wasn't on the same page with. And I went with my feeling that we could get over that trap downwind with this driver. But I also thought that if we hit 3, we was going to reach the trap. So, and do you know what? And I'm sure Howley won't mind me saying that if he is watching or if he does watch it, is that if I told him to hit it in a 5-yard gap, there's no chance in the world he'd do it. But that one time he was ripping it. He was, he shot 23 under par for the week. He just started the trap and he never left it. So thankfully he had enough power in it to carry it. So.
Did it take much persuasion on that tee? I mean, were you first to go? Were you second to go? What was the?
Do you know what? I can't remember. I can't remember who was first or second to go. But it was a discussion before we got on the tee. The discussion was, look, this is how far it is to the trap. This is how far the 3-wood's going to go, and it can reach. The driver's got a chance of carrying it. There's a big strong wind behind us. The 2-iron leaves us a long way back. It was a 3-wood or a driver, and I said, well, if we're in 3-wood, that's a no go for me. It's a driver all day long, and sure enough, it came off. But that was the only one shot throughout the 23 under par we shot for that week, was the one that we sort of didn't really agree with, if you like.
So how long had you been with David up to this point before you won? What
2013, two maybe 3 years. Yeah, 2 years. 2011 I started with him. Yeah, 2 years.
Him hitting that good shot probably comes off the back of a relationship that you two had at the time. Whereas if it was probably the first week, he would probably go with what his gut was.
Yeah.
Actually, that relationship that you built up over those 2 years.
Yeah. You don't. I mean, you've got to sort of still make an impression. That first week out, you still want to sort of put your mark on the relationship and say that, I'm a confident caddy here. This is what I believe. I've learned from you in the practice rounds. I know how far you're hitting it, etc., etc. I'm good at the wind. I'm good at the altitude, etc., etc. You've got to put your stamp on the mark. You can't come across as being a negative or unconfident person, if you like. So you've got to come across as right. This is what we need to do. 9 times out of 10, you and the player are on the same wavelength. But if you disagree with something, then you need to sell it to them. You need to be a good salesman. You need to say, this is the reason why. I don't believe you can do this because of A, B, and C. You know, the player makes their own decision at the end of the day. It's their choice. But you know, you can put your input in, and then whatever they go with is up to them. But if you do it in the right way, you know, that's what they're paid for.
Yeah, exactly. And that decision there obviously comes out with the memorabilia behind you, top left.
Oh, yeah, just that one there.
Next question, and I love this question actually. So from your point of view, I mean, some players will say it's easier to come from behind and win. It's harder to lead from the front. I've just actually started watching Formula One, and documentary on Netflix. It's unbelievable. Like, leading from the front is a lot harder than coming from behind, or if you're in those top 3 spots. So
yeah,
in terms of golf and caddying, would you rather be leading that final round, or would you rather be in that position where you're attacking and you come and strike from behind?
I think it all depends massively on the person you're working for, what kind of person he is. You know, if he's a guy that wants to come out of the blocks and go for it, you know, then if you're leading a tournament, then you know that people have got to shoot a good score to get past you. But then, you know, if that person that's leading a tournament and you're a couple of shots behind, and you know that, you know, over his career, he's renowned for putting a bag round in or the odd bad hole, and you know, coming from behind or a couple of shots behind or whatever it is, you know, you've got a chance, because there's always that chance that that person can come back to the field. So again, it all depends who you are. You know, obviously going into the Sunday, I'd like to be leading as a caddy, because then, you know, you go out and shoot a decent score, and they've got to shoot a better one. And if they go out and shoot 7 or 8 under in the last round, and they're a couple behind you and they beat you by a couple of shots, then not a lot you can do about that unless you go and shoot 7 or 8 under the same. But I'd like to think that, you know, if you've got a couple of shot lead and you've got your game plan sorted and you've played well all week, go out and shoot another 69, 68, and they've got to shoot 6 or 7 under to beat you. So that, for me, I would like to be leading by a couple for sure.
Because it's crazy now, isn't it? You see at least one person at one of the rounds, they go low, don't they? At most golf courses. Obviously, yeah, somewhere weather's dependent, and,
yeah,
and that changes things. But at least someone's throwing a 4 to 8 under in, aren't they?
Absolutely. It's amazing how many times you have an early late start or a late early start, sorry, and you turn up to the golf course at, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning, and you're about to tee off at 12:30, and someone's already 6 under through 9, and you think to yourself, Jesus, is the course playing easy, or is he really good, or, you know, what's going on? I remember the 2005 Open where Jack Nicklaus retired, actually, and Tiger was leading with, now he'd either shot 6 under, and he was leading by 5 shots. The wind in the afternoon had gone from nothing to unbelievable. The flags were doing this, it was horrific. And I was caddying for Steve for Webby, and we was on the range, and honestly, 7-iron was going 130 yards into the wind. It was just ridiculous. It was so tough. And we started on the back 9. So we started on the 10th hole, and we'd got it quite easy. If you can say easy, it was quite easy, because most holes played downwind on the back 9. And through 9 holes, we were 6 under. And I never forget standing on the first tee at St Andrews, looking at the leaderboard, Tiger Woods, Steve Webster, joint leader. And it was like, oh my God, we're the best in the world here. Unfortunately, Steve come back in 6 over for the back 9, and we shot level because we had all the holes into the wind, and it was ridiculously tough. But we're still in the top 15 or something after round 1. But I do remember that, you know, you always, it don't really matter what someone scores on the first 2 or 3 rounds. If you can, we always have a pact, really. If you can stay within 3 or 4 shots going into the last round, there's a chance you've got a chance of winning.
Yeah, because anybody can go low and someone can come back. But, you know,
absolutely, yeah,
You know what I find crazy just on scoring, that you see it's so often where a player will go and shoot nearly course record, like 7-8 under, follows it up the next day with like a level par 1 over. It's
Yeah.
that mentality, isn't it?
You know what? It's almost, you always see someone come out the blocks on the first round, 7 or 8 under, and then after the cut, 9 or 10 unders leading. You know, no one really shoots 7 under. You don't really see 14, 15 under leading after 2 rounds. So yeah, it's you know if you get through to Saturday night and you're 2 or 3 shots, 4 shots behind the lead, you know you're in with a really good chance of having a good week.
Got another question here for you from YouTube. The best course to caddy at. It can't be one of the ones that you've won on. And do you read the greens, and which ones are the easiest and hardest to read in terms of grass?
Okay, so like I said earlier, I've caddied for a couple of the best putters in the world. So as soon as I started that job, I said, look, don't get me involved in the greens. You know, you are renowned for being the best people in the world. Don't let me confuse it for you. You crack on. So when I get on the greens, I'm looking for the flag from the next day and let them get on with it. And yeah, so I haven't read the greens for, oh God, probably 7 or 8 years now. So I mean, the odd one, if it's a complete no go for the player that he hasn't got a clue where it's going to go, I might get the odd call, but I give him the look and I'm like, what on earth? What are you doing? You know. But you know, I'll give him my opinion, and whether it works or whether it doesn't, you know, it's a different thing. So yeah, I try and keep away from the putting if I can when I'm caddying for a good putter. Best course, do you say, to caddy around?
Of course.
Any of the UK events for me, golf courses for me in general are they're golf courses, and you just, you know, you adapt to which golf course you go into, and it's quite a nice way to do it and go and caddy round. But for me, the UK events, having the fans and, you know, and your friends and family that are going to come and support you, for me, they're the best. So Wentworth, for example, Dunhill Links, obviously, any of the British Masters events. There was meant to be a Belfry tournament, I believe, this year, but whether that's going to go ahead again, that would have been amazing, because I'm from the Midlands. I used to live 10 minutes from the Belfry anyway. So, yeah, that would have been a good one. But yeah, any of the UK events for me is the one to go for, because you go and caddy for at the China Open, and it's just the 3 players and 3 caddies. You know, you don't see anyone.
No.
You might get the odd click of a camera on your backswing now and again from someone that ain't got a clue about playing golf. So
that's almost guaranteed, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Sunday afternoons in China, it's like a family day out on a golf course. They haven't got a clue. They just let the kids run around. Kids are running across the fairways and all sorts. It's horrendous.
So, Steve, before we go, give us an update on the raffle that you've got going for 2 great charities.
So, raffle, I think I've got it here, actually. Yeah, so latest one, 10 prizes now.
Oh,
yeah, it's going up every day, actually. So, if I've got time, first prize is obviously the TCE caddies have all come on board and said they will caddy for 4 people. For the lucky winner. Second place, a Jordan Spieth signed open flag. Third is an hour lesson and 9-hole playing lesson with Rob Coles, who's an ex-European Tour player, and that's at his own golf course at Golf Kingdom in Essex. So that's all paid for, and you can go and play with him. 1 hour lesson, fourth place, 1 hour lesson with Phil Archer at Poulton Park in Warrington. Again, all paid for to go and play with Phil, who used to be on the European Tour. 5th place is a dozen Callaway triple track golf balls and a Callaway hat. 6th, a Tour Caddy Experience valuable pouch, which is this. We have got 7th place is a great prize. Sergio Garcia signed 2017 open flag. Is it open flag? 2017 Masters flag. So let's get to 2017. There we go. So that's what it could look like if you get it in a frame.
Perfect. I mean, that's class. And
So
all information still on Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all on Twitter. It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook. 8th place, Callaway Epic 3 Hybrid, donated by my boss, David Horsey. My old boss, 9th place, David Howe, signed Titleist goodies, hat, glove and balls. And then 10th place is an hour lesson and 9 hours playing lesson with Rob Dinwoody at the Richmond Golf Club, which is apparently meant to be awesome. So
Yeah, I've heard that's good.
So yeah, so it's only £10 to go. GoFundMe page. It's all on my social media. I believe you just shared it as well. Yeah. We've got 1 week to go. So a week today. If we get to do something next week, maybe I will follow on. Or we can do it on here if you like, whatever. But you know, I'm going to do a live draw next Friday night to see who wins, and we've just tipped £1,000. I think it's £1,030 so far. So it'd be nice to get up to a few grand, donate it to the NHS and to the autism charity.
Fantastic. That's £1,000 is great, but obviously if we can double it, even better.
It'd be lovely. Yeah. Let's hope so. Fingers crossed.
Oh, great. Thanks for joining me tonight. Really appreciate it. Some great stuff, mate. Guys, thank you for watching tonight's Golf Chat Show live. Don't forget, if you are brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, as well as smashing that like button if you did enjoy this content. Remember, this is all behind the scenes stuff here with Steve. Unbelievable stories. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.